Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we are going to look at the weekly metagame breakdown for the Pioneer best of one format. We did best of three last week. If you want to check that out, we have the new set coming out, Edge of Eternities, in about 2 weeks. So we'll see some new cards come in, but it's been a bit of a time. We could see how Final Fantasy has impacted the format in terms of the best of one format. We're going to get the data from Untapped GG, what you see on the screen. Companion tool that tracks users' win rates, gives us all the stats we're going to see here, tracks your own win rates if you're interested. So if you want to use Untapped, link is in the video description. Track your own games played as well. And we will also timestamp and paste all these deck lists in the description so you can copy paste to your heart's content. So looking at the overall kind of meta distribution, not a huge volume in terms, but basically red-based aggro with Angels being the most played decks right now. If we take a look at the format for the last week, Diamond and Mythic ranked, there's only been 6,600 games played. Comparatively, say if you look at historic, for the same period, it's 15,000. If you look at Alchemy, it's actually more games played of Alchemy right now than Pioneer. So interesting, all things considered. So we will take a look. Azorius Control, highest win rate deck thus far, 77%. And this one here, we have like Lockdown's main, just lowering the curve of the sweepers given the prevalence of like the red-based aggro decks. You have Sunfall in here. Exile is very reasonable against Heartfire Hero. Elspeth Smite just playing a little lower on the curve along with March of Otherworldly Light, just really respecting aggro, which is important. Bunch of cheap counters kind of mixed in. Wandering Emperor, Fairy as your kind of Planeswalker win conditions. Memory Deluge helps you find some card advantage. There's the new Kicker spell from the new set. 2 mana that basically if you pay 2 more. With Kicker, it mirrors kind of the elements of Memory Deluge based on the number of lands you have. So that can do a nice analog, but it's more flexible in the sense it could be a turn 2 play, it could be a turn 4 play. And then Farewell on the top end. Got a bunch of utility lands, Fountainport, Myrex, Halls. You're winning a lot with your lands in this deck as well. We have the first of the red-based decks. This is Leyline Red, Rakdos, if you squint hard enough with Callous Sellsword. But get Leyline out, play a bunch of pump effects that get doubled, and then fling your creatures at your opponent with Callous Sellsword or Thud here. You have Monstrous Rage, now with Standard Banned. You have Turn Inside Out, Titan Strength. Ancestral Anger can draw you a bunch of cards, give Trample. Felonious Rage gives haste and a power boost as well. Scamp and Heartfire Hero deal double damage when they die if you fling them at your opponent. Moving on, we go mono white humans. So this deck here, playing human synergy. So you get utility lands in like Cavernous Souls and Mutavault, which is an honorary human. By playing humans, Thalia's Lieutenant puts counters on everything and then gets bigger on its own. You can animate Mutavault in response. They'll also put counters on it. Sheltered by Ghost is some removal. Coppercoat Vanguard's a Lord effect as well. And a bunch of cheap creatures. Dauntless Bodyguard for protection. Giant Killer's kind of removal and a creature. Kynthian can flip Kynthian into Gideon if you attack with 3 or more. Recruitment Officer's card advantage. Veteran Survivor is kind of Graveyard Hate. Just another 1 mana 2/1 that gets bigger. So you can put a lot of pressure on your opponent. Adelin's kind of the top end. Makes you a bunch of tokens. Plays really nice with Thalia's Lieutenant. Every turn putting more counters on it. Extraction Specialist rebuys stuff, Thalia taxes, and then some wedding announcements just for a little bit of grind in the deck. We go to Esper Greasefang. So this deck here, there's sometimes Mardu pops up, sometimes Abzan. Esper is the highest win rate of the week. The Esper version gives you access to both Abhorrent Oculus as well as Greasefang, so kind of dual lines. The Greasefang brings back Parhelion or Sky Sovereign to cheat it out, haste it, and get the value right away. You have Faithful Mending. This one's kind of relevant because it gains you life when it kind of draws discards. Same Tainted Indulgence also draws you pretty deep. Otherworldly Gaze kind of fills your graveyard, and then just Recommission, Can't Stay Awake as reanimation effect. So in this particular list, it's pretty easy to mill over your threat and then kind of cheat it into play that way there. You also have 1 mana counters and Stubborn Denial to kind of protect it. New deck in Boros Hammer, Boros equipped. So Cloud is just another effect in this tutorable. So what you're trying to do with this deck is use Sigarda's Aid with Colossal Hammer to cheat it into play for cheap. And then auto equipped, so creature gets plus 10/10. Cloud can help you search for an equipment. So you can find your hammers, Lava Spur Boots for haste, Shadow Sphere for trample lifelink, Citizen's Crowbar can deal with artifacts or enchantments, chainsaws removal, and then you have Quarry Steel as well that can be tutored, so kind of a Quarry Steel deck hidden in there. Zac protects your creatures, Portable Holes, cheap removal, and then you have Kemba, which auto-equips when another cat enters the battlefield, so even if this comes to play, you can kind of get that value. And then Raban comes in, and then when it attacks, you attach up to one target equipment you control to attacking creature. So another way to just kind of equip it, because the ward on this is take damage equal to its power. If you have Colossal Hammer, they have to take like 12 potentially. You also have a lot of legendaries in the deck, so Mox Amber is free mana. Kellen also helps you find some cards, and then is another body with double strike to equip too. Mono black midrange, so this one's a little bit more controlling. We see a deadly cover up on the top end, but bunch of cheap interactions, 7 pieces of 1 mana discard, Fatal Push, Edict, Go for the Throat, all cheap removal. Gifted Aetherborn, trades favorably, gains you life. Graveyard Trespasser, eats away at the graveyard, gains you life. Lily for the grindier matchups, Edict kind of effects, Murderous Rider, flexible removal. Cool new art that I got in Final Fantasy, the Headless Rider. Shelly just kind of stabilizes you, gain you life, and then Unholy Annex is your card advantage engine that takes over. You have Mutavault, which acts as a demon that also works to drain your opponent, Demolition Field to blow up lands, and then Urborg helps fix the fact you're playing 7 colorless spells. Sometimes these decks play Invoke Despair, so keep an eye out for that. Mono red aggro, so this is the more stock version. You'll see a lot in best of 3. Kind of everybody who got their standard deck banned can come play it here. Really similar to the standard deck. You have Sunspine Link's main because most of the mana bases are quite greedy. This one's on a Tursa main. A couple Bone Crushers and Kumanos are the only non-standard cards. Otherwise, it's pretty much your stock standard mono red list. With the addition of Mutavaults over Soulstone Sanctuary. Mutavault's just more of an efficient effect. Not as big in terms of power, but 1 mana as opposed to 4+ mana to activate it and attack that same turn. Then we go to Golgari Food. So the decks usually for the sacrifice are typically Jund for the Yurga combo. For the Unfamiliar, Yurga plus 2 Cauldron Familiars creates an infinite loop where they see each other as food, so they sack and replace each other. So you drain your opponent out that way there. You also have Sephiroth in this one, which another way just with Cat Oven, just more ways to kind of drain your opponent, Blood Artist style effects. You have All Behead Scavengers, just another Blood Artist effect. So just multiple ways to kind of gain and drain. Bonder's Insight as a way to fill your graveyard, gains you life when Cat comes back. Trail of Crumbs is card advantage. Scavenger's Talent makes you more. This one's really impactful for the deck because it can make you food triggers. It mills you to find the Cauldron Familiar or even the Yurga, and then its last mode basically lets you reanimate Yurga in the deck, so a cool way there. Gilded Goose for ramp, and then just some removal of Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, kind of mixed into there. Deadly Dispute as card advantage. We have Selesnya Auras here. So this one here is not as strong as the historic version. You don't have or Spirit Dancer, but Light Paws, Shram for card advantage. You have the Hexproof in Glade Cover Scout. So Glade Cover comes down, throw in a bunch of like auras, make it really powerful, kill your opponent that way there. Scavenger can also distribute counters. You can give like Trample, big power boost, First Strike in another body, flying, Vigilance, protection, huge power boost. And then this one is Hexproof for another kind of creature. Lightpaw is very strong here because you can tutor up any kind of these one of situational auras. And then lastly, we have Selesnya Angels, 53%. Very reasonable into the red decks, suffers against like the control decks. Collected Company and Kyla's Reconstruction help you dig, pull multiple angels into play. Bishop of Wings, as well as Righteous Valkyrie, reward you for clerics or angels coming in, gain you a bunch of life, Anthem your team, and then Resplendent Angel just makes you a lot of bodies kind of on the flip side. Cut the Deafening Silence, play the 4th Resplendent Angel, that's what you should be on. I'll make that change. This is for like a sideboard card against like Phoenix, stuff like that. Having Resplendent Angels is one of the big hits you want when you start going off because it makes you multiple bodies kind of going wide that way there. So that is it for the week. Let me know what you think, what you've been playing, what you think of the Pioneer format, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.